and I will manage the lobby.
Thank you. Okay, I think we can start. Welcome to the 43 TSC meeting. For I will coordinate this meeting even if I was in the previous one, because in the next one I will be on vacation, so I will leave the floor to Guillaume. From the voting participant, I can see participant from TIM, from Orange, Deutsche Telekom, Ericsson, and I don't see from Telefonica or Vodafone or Nokia. So for the time being, we don't have the quorum for the vote. But I hope that someone from Nokia, Vodafone, or Telefonica will join us. And for the other participant, I can see participant from Red Hat, SUSE, White Stack, Reply, and I don't know if I miss other companies participating to this meeting.
I am here. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, hi, Luis. Welcome.
Hello.
So we have the quorum for the vote.
Good.
Okay, the next TSC will be on the 18th of December. And from the general news, today we will have a presentation on the results of the PSC on HBR from Deutsche Telekom and Orange. And for the next one, we will have a presentation from Workgroup 4 on Green Scheduler and Green Dashboard. On the direct fund information point of view, we will have an update in Workgroup 5 on the status of the preparation for the Sylva Dev Day next year, probably together with KubeCon in London, if we manage to find a place for hosting it. And there has been an election for the general sponsor representative, and the elected member for 2025 is Hanen Garcia from Red Hat. So congratulations. And I don't have other general information. I don't know if anybody has other general information to add. If not, okay. If not, I will quickly move to the workgroup description, so we can leave enough time at the end of the meeting for HBR presentation. So I will leave the floor to Mathieu for Workgroup 1.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Just to tell you quickly that we tagged Sylva v1.2.1. So it's bug fixing for v1.2 then. And we now focus on v1.3. You have the list of the the major features that we are focusing on. So it will come very soon now. Everything is under review, and hopefully we will be able to release it before mid-December.
Okay. Any question or comment for workgroup 1?
So it's an additional comment. We will provide a press release with Naomi and the Linux Foundation on this new release.
The press release is about v1.2, am I right?
v1.2, yes.
Okay. If there are no other comments, I would move to workgroup 2 on validation center. Luis.
Okay. Yes, hello. So things that we have done so far, we have two new workloads that have been validated, the Fortinet firewall and the Unisys VMS. So this is good news. We have now 12 completed validations, and we have two new workloads that are being proposed to be added. So we will work on validating two more, one from F5 and another from Druid. Okay, so these are good news. Workload has progressed in validations and new elements. Now we are working on adding the confirmation that we can do version upgrade with no service impact. So using the GitOps way of upgrading the Kubernetes, the platform, we want to do it when we have a network function, a workload already there, and we are doing it with the 6WIND. Once we pass it with 6WIND, we will, because 6WIND has been used for many different things. Once we pass it with this, we will try and do it with all the new network workloads that are validated. So we are working on Kubernetes version upgrade with no service impact. And the same with the OCI artifact. So confirming that, or including the artifact defining what is the infrastructure requirements, so that they are automatically read or understood by the platform, and so as to configure accordingly. So we are working these two things, Kubernetes version upgrade with no service impact and open container artifacts included in the workload. And we are using as a reference 6WIND VSR for both of them. What are we going to do next? Completing the validation of these two new workloads that have been added, completing the version upgrade validation with no service impact, and the open container artifacts that I have just commented. And this is all for validation stream.
Thank you, Luis. Any question or comment for Luis? Okay, let's move to workgroup 3. Mihai.
Yes. Hello. Okay, so for work group 3, what we've done is the fine-tuning of security requirements for the UCS, and we have also finalized the CNF guidelines document. Do you have it open somewhere,
Yes.
Carlo? So I explain
Yes.
it a bit.
I just have to remove the bar.
Okay, so let me make a very, very brief summary of the document. So for those of you who have read also the draft and the email I sent this morning, the biggest changes are that the points written in the document have a verification method. meaning that they are testable. They are not written specifically in this document, but if you have any questions regarding how exactly we're going to test them, I can address them. I will not be presenting all of them because it would take a bit too much time. We have removed the ones which have been too vague and generated some discussions. And some of the, at least 3 of the last points are not specifically related to Sylva security, but they are related to something which we think it's important for Sylva, meaning that they are something which it's pretty much common sense. But the thing is that right now they are not written anywhere. So we proposed to include them into this document, and when the availability, the dynamic of how dynamic should the CNFs be, we will put them in other documents, no problem. But we think that since it's a starting point, it's something important for us to do. Carlo, can you go please to the beginning of the document, to point 1? Okay, so the first part, point number 1, is pretty much covering the supply chain of Sylva, where we believe that the development should go by the DevSecOps principles, to have that the CNF has a vulnerability management process, and that it has some dependencies created, and the dependency chain, to be able to create an SBOM and to periodically monitor vulnerabilities and analyze the vulnerabilities for the code. A patch management process for the images, which again, they will be signed, and on Sylva site, we will check the signature of the images and the in toto attestations in order to provide to verify their authenticity. And to have a zero trust approach for vulnerabilities, and to ensure the integrity by signing the artifacts, which this is the main driver for checking all of the points above. So that would be point 1. Second would be to not prevent the infrastructure to not prevent that the infrastructure, to not tamper the infrastructure, to not be able to see monitoring security events anymore. The filtering process for the CNF should be exposed, and only the necessary interfaces be exposed. To have in the deployment part to follow the principle of least privileges, meaning that users and service account receive receive access rights only for what they need, not for everything. And of course, exceptions can be granted as long as the justification is provided for why the specific user needs a specific role. And also, there should be also the risks exposed. Then we would have the CNF to be able to run in an environment which would have the pod admission control, the standard one of Kubernetes, so the native. Number 6 is related, that in case there is a CNF with high privileges, that it should be isolated on dedicated Kubernetes nodes. number 7 is related to the CNF to be able to use the Sylva units in case the application requires a certain function. This is exactly what it's meant to, a guideline in order to have, from a resource point of view, less consumes and not double the applications. But of course, if from some details are not possible, exceptions to be granted for the exceptions can be granted with certain justifications. And of course, to not mount host directories for device access and to not use network namespaces, again, can be modified in case there is a requirement into this part. And the last 4 of them, so the high availability mode, dynamic scale up, scale down, to maintain service availability during platform upgrades, and the CNFs should not be tied to unsupported Sylva versions of Kubernetes. These are things which we consider to be common sense, but again, we feel the need that they should at least be mentioned somewhere, so we took this opportunity to include them into this guideline. So this is the proposal. I don't know if there are any questions.
I have some comments. So if we have comments here, can we comment online, or should we
Yes,
ask now? Or
yes, Luis, you can
okay,
ask or make comments.
Yeah, I have 3 comments. One is, I think we should say workload instead of CNF. I'm very pushy on this always, but this is not only for network functions. This will apply to any application, that edge applications, for instance, that are not network functions. So I would change everything to refer to workloads in general, more than just CNFs, or write CNFs and applications, something like that. That's my comment. This is general. And then I have 2 comments. On the point 6, when it says the CNF can request high privileges because of its nature, I think we should add something like justification should be added or somehow. So let's say because we are going to validate. So in the end, if we can allow using high privileges, that should have a justification for that. Some kind of reasoning for that. Same as you have in point 8 and 9. No? You say justification needs to be applied or something like that. So I recommend to add this in 6 as well.
Yeah,
should be justified.
Yeah, for the second point, I just want to mention that the way we thought about it is that number 6 takes the assumption that the CNF already has the privileges, and we are focusing on the isolation part, and the part with justification is exactly, it's covered into the access part. So that would be, let's say, the logic, that the first one is that you ask, you follow this principle, but you can have it. And once you have it, you also need to isolate it on dedicated Kubernetes nodes. That was, but we can modify, and we can also put.
Yeah, I would still say that if we accept that it has requests high privileges, we should somehow indicate why we support this, because by default it should not go to high privileges. No? And my last comment in the point 10 is that it says the workload should be deployed in a high availability mode. I don't think this is a requirement for the workload itself. It's for the deployment of the workload. So I mean, it's more addressed to the integrator or the person who is going to deploy it than for the workload itself. So I'm not sure, because you are indicating these are requirements, security requirements for the workload.
Yeah.
This one is not really for the workload. I mean, you have to deploy it in a high availability mode.
Yeah.
But this is not required for the workload. It's that you are not changing the code. No? It's the way you deploy it. You need to deploy multiple instances or something like that. So it's just a comment.
What what it means is that the CNF must come with definition of Kubernetes services for this HA to happen.
Okay, maybe this is something like the workload should not prevent from deploying in high, or should be designed to support deployment in high availability mode, something like that. Because as it is written, it is not a problem for the developer of the workload. It's for the integrator who is going to deploy.
So CNF should be compliant with a high availability mode deployment, something like this.
Something like that.
Okay.
So it's just a comment. Eh? It's a soft comment in a way.
Yeah, sure. I agree with all of the points which Luis mentioned. Also, the one for the CNF to replace CNF with workload. Maybe at the beginning of the document we can make a definition of the CNF and just write that it also applies to the network functions, but we also take workloads, other applications into consideration, and we put the definition at the beginning instead of changing every part.
I agree with that.
I agree with that
approach. Yeah.
Just concerning high privileges, so did you consider setting up high privileges only for certain operations? I mean, some CNF requires cluster admin rights only when they get installed in the cluster, but during the life of the cluster and the life of the application, they don't need it anymore.
No. So we took the assumption only for the deployment part and not the management of what's happening afterwards. We started to, I mean, for the first iteration, we were thinking of having it as general as possible and having enough flexibility to be able to go case by case, because there are quite a lot of cases which can be this question can have, so we could not evaluate all of them.
Book, you have a question?
Yes, question and a comment. First, the question. This is a proposal, or this is like a first version of the guideline? How is it still like a draft for the alignment, or you release it as a first version?
This is the proposal for the first version. So the process was that we have sent the draft to the members of the TSC. We have collected feedback from Working Group 2, from Luis. We have collected feedback from ZTE, 6Win, Nokia. Quite a lot of companies have provided.
Huawei.
Huawei also have provided feedback, and this is, let's say, the final version which covers everything which was agreed upon. There were more requirements at the beginning, which we cut from the first version because there would be there is needed more discussion on this. So this is the final version of V1, let's say.
So that was a question. Then we didn't do actually our homework, I would say, contributing much, because there was a colleague from DT involved, but he wasn't able to prioritize much time. So we'll probably then looking for some of the next versions to contribute. But what we do have, what I wanted to mention is when I look at these rules, we have for the most of them the policies already in a Kyverno rules or in some other way, like airbag available, and this is maybe something we could share or we could contribute, because we have a very similar list which is a bit extended comparing to this one, because it's a compromise, or it's a kind of agreed set that is probably the optimal for a wider usage. But as we have in DT number of things implemented, we could also look what to contribute and give some feedback on that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Francesco?
Yeah, just a question on the guidelines. I was wondering if it would make sense to somewhere capture what regulatory requirement these requirements satisfy. So, if, for example, if something such as the signing artifacts can be linked back to a NIS2 or a DORA requirement, or a UCS, something like that, to provide a more comprehensive overview.
If you have a certain regulatory scheme in mind, we can do this. At least in the working group, we have covered the analysis of UCS. And in UCS, there is no requirement tailored on the behavior of the application for the cloud infrastructure. UCS, and at least the documents which we have went over, are covering only about the cloud part of the infrastructure, and we have evaluated from an infrastructure point of view the regulatory.
Yeah, just a suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Guillaume?
Yeah, and it's just to answer, I think it's mainly based on our risk analysis more than a framework here, than regulatory framework.
Yeah, I was probably just misled by the README, where I saw these two and other framework. I thought there was a requirement to adhere 100% to those.
Yeah, so
okay.
It's mainly about risk analysis, security risk analysis for us.
Yeah,
so
understood. Thank you.
Okay, any other point?
There is a comment from Juan Minchen in the chat, and maybe I can address this one. So commenting can be done right now, also by email if you have certain things that you want to comment on this part. There was also one person from Red Hat also involved into this feedbacking part, Francois, who is quite active in the working group. So there has also been from Francois this validation.
So how we want to proceed? I think you proposed to have a vote on this version. We heard a lot of comments, some proposal for modification. Do you think it's good to have a vote now, or maybe to have to include some revision and vote in the next TSC? I don't know.
So if I can make a summary, okay, so there were a couple of amendments from Luis. One was related to the name of it, the definition of CNF. Which can be done quite fast, and I can put this definition in the document and sync with him to validate it. And the second one, which you had, Luis, was on point 6, if I remember correctly, to
Yes.
also
Yes.
add the exception. Okay, so in order to make it let's say more efficient, at least me as a proposer, I accept the amendments from Luis. So I would say that if it's okay with everybody and there are no other amendments to the document, that we have a vote with the amendments proposed. So that would be the version to vote upon, if it's okay. I don't know, from a governance point of view.
I think it's okay if there are no objection to proceed in this way. So we can quickly have a vote on it from the voting member. From team is okay. From Orange.
Okay.
DT, Hook. for your Vuke from, okay, you got on the chat. Luis, for you, it's okay to proceed.
Okay.
And Riyab?
Yes, looks fine.
Okay. So I think that we have all the voting members, and we can consider it approved with the amendments agreed. And we will have a space for further comments and improvement in the next version of the guidelines.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. Thank you. So we can quickly move to Workgroup 4. Huamin.
Thank you, Carlo. So in the last meeting, in the Green Dashboard meeting as the Workgroup 4, we went through the Green Dashboard demo. So it basically consists of edge clusters and centralized that Green Dashboard. So we can see currently we can see a lot of information from the cluster utilization, resource utilization, power usage. We do not currently have the CO2 models. The formula is still being worked on. So once that is done, we will be able to see the CO2 information on dashboard as well. That will be a real-time information available for inspection. Based on this work, we submitted the Green Dashboard as a Cloud Native Telco Day, co-located with KubeCon EU 2025. This will be hopefully be accepted, and Praveen from Orange will be the presenter if that happens. So in the next step, we will continue to work on the CO2 calculation, and then once that is available, we will post that into the Green Dashboard as additional information. I also noticed that we will have a green scheduler demo. So if we can schedule it at the end of January or early February 2025, that will be great. Have the sync up with Praveen and his team. So they are still working on the final validation. So a month or two will be a great timing for that demo.
Okay. Thank you, Huamin. Any comments or questions? If not, let's move to Workgroup 5. I would ask, if possible, to be very short, to leave at least 20 minutes for HPR presentation. I don't know who can.
I'm not sure Andre is here, so I can give it very quickly. So the activity is coming back with a press release, and we will have also a newsletter to recap all the deliverables of this end of this year. An important deliverable will be also a white paper explaining a long-term strategy of Sylva for the future. Yeah, hi, you are not. You can put on mute. I do it. Okay. And we have submitted numbers of topics for the main event of the KubeCon. So you'll have the details around the different work group, and also some topics to the Telco Cloud Native Days. So this is, and the last one is that there's a proposal of LF Europe booth participation with self-focus and open slice that we are discussing. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on Workgroup 5? Not. Let's move to Workgroup 6. I don't see if Morgan is.
There was no meeting on the last period, I think.
Okay, so I think
no update.
we don't have any update, and then we can leave the rest of the meeting to Deutsche Telekom. I don't know if Vuk, are you presenting the?
Yes, if you can make me a presenter, I'll share the some slides that we prepared, and hopefully then in 20 minutes we'll be able to go through what we have planned. Can you see my screen here?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Suppose it's okay. Good. So thank Carlo. Thanks everybody. Today we are here, or I'm here with Vlad and with Christopher. We are presenting out of or representing the host-based routing POC stream and the results which we achieved and created in a last couple of months. Vlad is from the Orange side in charge for the SDN and for the network of the Orange Telco Cloud, and Christopher is from my team in DT, lead architect for the host-based routing solution. So today, as said, we would like to give you the summary of the results and give an indication of the next steps and what we are proposing to do. For anybody who was not here in May when we introduced this and who might miss the topic, host-based routing is a solution for a network complexity and network challenge for a telco cloud, especially in the environments with heavily segmented networks. So it gives possibility, the solution gives possibility to effectively and efficiently manage CAS in the telco data centers without need to automate the network fabric with a heavy day 2 automation and cover these operations. Brings the security with itself, effectively decouples fabric from the connectivity configuration and opens the use cases like self-service for a connectivity of the primarily network functions, which are typically requiring many connections into different network segments. This is what we wanted to validate, and this is a concept Deutsche Telekom is using in production since 3 years and was tailor-made for our needs. But with this POC, we wanted to validate if it's useful beyond the DT domain and beyond DT borders, and we actually plan to prepare POC and to carry out the evaluations. This is what you can see here. We achieved that, and now the third step, which was planned, is considering adoption in Sylva, and first step in this direction is to give you feedback. The idea overall, as a reminder, is to position host-based routing as a potentially standard networking solution for the telco cloud based on Sylva, and to have also community-based development and contributions to it. I'm speeding up a bit through this because there are much more interesting things to be presented by Christopher and Vlad. Just in terms of very general status, what we did. We made this decision in TSC to move on with this activity in May, and then immediately shorter afterwards, a group of people met and then really made a fantastic, outstanding job in working together and then coming to the results in a very natural way, like they were working for the last couple of years together. So setup was that the POC and evaluation was done in a Sylva validation center in Paris, and it was driven by the Orange. and Deutsche Telekom was contributing the concept and consulting, and we didn't want just to use what we have in DT. We wanted also to make a spin on it and bring in another product into the solution, and this is where 6Wind thankfully jumped in and provided their VSR product. We evaluated the host-based routing model and then concept based on it. It's important to emphasize we had a bit more ambitions to deliver full testing, including full automation and a Kubernetes native way of managing connectivity. This is something for information here that is part of the Deutsche Telekom's deployment, but since it would have required additional software development and additional efforts, we focused on the phase 1, which is evaluating the host-based routing concept and the solution in a connectivity layer. So showing it on the data path, let's say so. And instead of realizing it now, we are shifting this phase 2 for the second step. You'll see later, but we had extensive demo of how it works with the Kubernetes resource model and native management. Based on that, we could have been able to draw the conclusions. Timeline was, as I mentioned, from May. Every month we made the progress in preparing, especially thanks to Orange facility validation center team who put together the fabric, configured everything, got the test licenses on the networking part so that we can really then proceed. And the message out of it, we are ready for next steps. We are ready to discuss the plan ahead of us. And with that, I would like to hand over to Vlad, who's going to give you a bit more insights what we actually did.
Okay, thank you, Vuk. Can you hear me? It's fine.
Yes, we can hear you.
So, as Vuk mentioned, at Orange, we are enthusiastic about the HBR concept that DT brought in the Sylva community. So that is why we wanted to have a hands-on, like a deep dive on the concept and test it inside the Sylva validation center. So this was really important just to see it at work and to better understand it. And we decided to test many things, but we concentrated on the features that are not already covered by the primary CNI, in this case, Calico Enterprise. So we want to have a comparison between what Calico Enterprise could use, for example, and what the HBR could bring us. Because the HBR is not meant to actually replace the CNI. We had this question, why are you using HBR if you have Calico or Cilium? But this is not the thing. So HBR is not replacing the CNI. It brings extra routing features that the Kubernetes networking is not able to provide today. Okay, so we tested Multus Magvolan network attachment use case. Also, the traffic from the primary interface of the pod will be routed via the HBR. We have also a redundant egress SNAT solution, which was designed and tested successfully with the 6Wind VSR. And also we wanted to see how we can filter the Multus Magvolan interfaces with ACL-based configuration. So these are the main use cases. And we had really good results during our tests. Only few things to be clarified here, but we had the HBR concept when using EVPN VXLAN switching fabric was proven to be like innovative, flexible, and really easy to integrate. So we saw this HBR solution as being really stable, resilient, and we have excellent performance for the Linux kernel networking stack. Furthermore, we wish to emphasize that since we started the POC in August, we didn't touch the configuration of the switches. So although we tested many VLANs, many topologies, many IP addresses, IPv4, IPv6, everything you can imagine, we haven't touched the switch, the physical switch configuration at all since we started. And one thing to remember here is that we still have some work to do on the HBR integration in non-EVPN VXLAN switching fabrics, like in MCLAG legacy networks. There are still some challenges here to be able to integrate it, and we need more design work and more evaluation on the complexity and the cost. So with HBR, it's excellent for EVPN VXLAN, but it can really complexify things in an MCLAG environment. So this is still to be discussed. And our conclusion is that HBR in the EVPN VXLAN fabric is successfully covering the connectivity needs in telco world, and also opens up to multiple options to implement them. So I will go right now to the demo. So if you don't have any questions, I will share my screen to show the demo. One moment.
I think you need to be made the presenter, possibly. So if
Can you
Carlo
see it?
or
I think it could be already there. Or...
Yep.
Okay.
Seems to be there.
So
yep.
Briefly, this is the lab topology that we have with 6 servers, one VSR on each server. They will be linked to the physical switches, and we have this EVPN VXLAN fabric. Then we have this would be the node design for the Sylva OTC common deployment, and this we will see here the HBR evolution of the node. So we'll have an extra namespace that the HBR will be using. And what is interesting here that all of this configuration is created and managed by the 6-wind VSR, by the HBR, let's say, without needing to configure anything inside the node. Okay. So then I will skip to the part when I'm showing how we created the VSR pods. So we have let's say, in-house Helm chart based templating. So I'm having a values YAML file, completing the interfaces, the VRFs, and everything is needed. And then after this is completed, we are creating the Helm chart. So here you can see we have the 2 switches in Sylva Validation Center. No BGP is active. So we are installing the Helm chart. We are waiting for 1 minute. And then let me go to I will skip to the part. So I will leave it time to. So you can see right now the VSR pods are running, and the BGP sessions are now established. For the BGP sessions for the underlay and the multi-protocol BGP for EVPN is established right away. So we have a quick establishment. We can also check the VSR, one of the VSR since also the BGP sessions as active. And then we can have some traffic. So we have two use cases here. The Multus Mac VLAN. So we have 2 pods, 18 and 21. And for this one, we will test the Mac VLAN use case for bridging inside VLAN 100, and for routing inside the test 2 between two VLANs, VLAN 150 and VLAN 200. So based on this topology, we will start. I will show you the tests. So we are creating the pods. These are the test pods. You can see the IP addresses inside each pod. I'm showing right now only IPv4, but we are testing IPv6 as well, and it's working fine. And then we are starting also a capture inside the VSR, inside the host-based router, to see if the traffic is encapsulated. So we'll have, you can see this is the bridging use cases. So we are in the same subnet, and we have here the encapsulated traffic with some VNI, and then also for the routing use case, we will have the end-to-end reachability working, and this time we will have different VNIs according to the layer 3 VNIs of the VRFs declared on the host-based router, and also showing the part with the primary interface of the pod. So we see Calico node is establishing BGP sessions from bird towards the VSR. We have them established, and also here we will see some traffic flowing correctly, and the traffic being observed also inside the VXLAN, encapsulated in VXLAN. So this proves that the traffic is handled by the HBR correctly, and we have no issue here. So this completes the demo. So I will give right now the floor to Chris to tell us about the next plans. Maybe we can also, in phase 2, test the CRDs of the HBR, since we were working right now in a, let's say, static configuration mode. So this is really important to see the CRDs.
Exactly. Thank you for handing over to me. I just very briefly go over this slide in a minute or so, besides it being quite full anyway. So the left side has the HBR implementation as it is today. It is really bound to directly integrating into FRR, so our internal solution, as well as directly talking to the Linux kernel at some point. We also just support a very limited subset and feature set of CRDs that can be configured on the routing daemon. In this case, it's just some VRF configuration and layer 2 configuration. So our goal is to move from this kind of really coupled model with a FRR inside the network operator kind of into a decoupled model, to be able to facilitate more than just FRR. For example, also in this case, as we've discussed, the 6-band VSR, to also be able to have the 6-band VSR as a vendor module that can be used. Our goal for that is to define southbound CRDs, which then the module of a vendor can consume, but also to define northbound CRDs, which define the intent which a user wants to have. For example, I want to have a VLAN, or I want to have a VRF bridge, whatever. And actually, this could kind of easily also be used to not only configure some host-based routing based on a routing daemon, but also to configure layer 2 use cases. For example, in a classical world where you have, for example, VM-based clusters, where you need secondary interfaces with VLANs and so on, you could take the same approach and take the same CRDs, and that's kind of our goal with HBR 2.0. What we will do and deliver internally and also deliver to the open world from our side until estimated February 2024 is a containerized FRR version. So this FRR kind of serving as a module just like any other vendor implementation for it, to be able for anyone in the community to take that, work with that completely without any license cost and freely, and to contribute without any major obstacles. Yeah, I think that's the main points from this, and handing over back to Vuk.
Thank you, Chris. And I just need to refuse one of the calls that just came. So thanks again. I'm moving to the conclusions. So how we'd like to continue? What do we propose? Essentially, what you heard from both Vlad and Chris is that in the POC we really saw and witnessed the synergy and saw the values of it, but we also recognize we need a platform to continue and expand the collaboration about or around the host-based routing. And one of the logical steps is looking into possibility to create a working group around networking in Sylva. We are not proposing it now. We are just informing that we are going to make a preparation work and then come back with this topic to the TSC. And the role of the working group we are envisioning is to be home of the host-based routing, to further develop it and maintain the core elements as well as reference implementation of it. So as a central place to have a documentation, collaboration, and touch points. So there are some things that we in DT are having due to our internal timelines. So we are now working very intensively on this HBR 2.0. If there was no time pressure, the order of steps would be more logical in the way that we first create a working group and then work on the 2.0 together. But we need to deliver that till February, and we are committed to keep the POC stream and also to the partial extent working group 1 involved, informed in what we are doing, and also consult on key decisions. And in parallel, prepare the working group proposal, maybe for the TSC in February or even maybe end of January, depending on how we make it possible. And then when we establish the working group, if everything goes as according proposal, then we can start within the working group testing of the host-based routing 2.0. There is an outstanding task of comparing this approach to the Orange virtual network attachments approach, and then looking for a possibility to converge there. And also the idea would be to donate, to organize, and then implement the donation of the code for HBR. So that's, I think, exactly in the 20 minutes. Very fast and a brief summary of what we did. And now I'm handing back to Carlo.
Thank you very much, Vuk, Christy, and Vlad for the quick presentation, but in any case, very, very interesting. I don't know if there are questions or comments. If not, I think it will be interesting to have this the deep dive session you proposed within Work Group 1. I don't know if we manage in December or beginning of the new year. And please send me a link to the slides so we can attach them to the minutes of the TSC together with the recording, and so also the other people that didn't participate will be able to analyze them.
Sure, we'll send the PDF versions of the slides and also the video of the demo that Vlad presented, so then you can include them as a reference.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
any further comment?
Just tell me when you want to do such a Work Group 1 deep dive session.
Let us think on a Slack on when
Yeah.
there will be a good time on the agenda or as an extra meeting to go into more details.
Okay, we don't have nothing specific at the agenda for Workgroup 1 for the next meetings. So it's happening every Tuesday at 3 p.m. French time. So tell me what Tuesday fits you, and we can.
Okay, we'll align. We'll align and then propose. We didn't discuss that depending on availability, but we would like to do it December, early January latest. So we'll aim for December.
Okay.
And maybe we can have
in the meantime,
more
any
active,
questions?
yeah, more
Yeah,
active questions, right? More exchanges would be nice, to
Yes,
know
sure.
the feedback on this
Yes, I think it would
from
be
other partners, yeah. And questions, it's
I think it would be useful for this purpose, in addition to attach it to the minutes of the TSC, the slides, and maybe to announce well in advance the presentation during Workgroup 1 meeting, so the interesting one can be ready to join it.
Yep. And we are in Slack. I will also share for the reference that the Slack channel you can include in minutes, so we can have also active discussion there in the meantime. And when there is a need, we can take the questions and organize the deep dive session.
Okay, fine. Okay, are there other points to be discussed?
Carlo, just one thing is an offer I'm putting out there because Control Plane is London based and we have an event team. If we need any support for logistics around the Telco Cloud Day at KubeCon, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to sort of coordinate internally. If you have to find a venue, whatever is needed, you can count on us being exactly London based.
Okay.
Yeah, Francesco, I will inform Naomi on this. She was searching for such location.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly. Yeah. Pleasure.
Okay, good offer. Thank you. Okay, I think we can close with a very slight delay, but I think it was very useful, the presentation and the discussion. So thank you all, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.